Yes, so welcome to my review of the KZ PR1 Hifi. Yes, so this is the Hifi variant. There's also the balanced variant, which is more like a black, and the shell's more clear, but I'll explain that later on. And yet, as usual, for disclaimers, I'd like to thank KZ themselves for sending this out to me, so thank you very much. I was not paid to do this video, nor thoughts and opinions are my own. And later on in the video, I'll do probably a small comparison to the CCA PLA13, and yeah, let's just get into it. So like I said in the intro, this is the Hifi version, which is the silver one. The balanced one is a different colour, it's like black kind of grey colour. So specs are, a lot of that is normal connection, but it's 20 to 40,000 hertz. I probably don't disagree with that, because you see these are crazy extension. Impedance is 16 ohms, sensitivity, which is very low, 96.8. Yes, these are harder to drive, like obviously hard to drive. I'll show you I've got them onto my side, but don't forget the original intention of using earphones to enjoy music. Spoiler, I've already been using these and I've already graphed them. And yes, see this here, that's for show, so they aren't actually like open back. So yeah, this is all metal. The balanced version you can see in, so it's noticeably different. All that's the same. Kind of the Starline kind of tips. Build quality is very good. It's very premium. I do prefer how these look compared to the original, the PLA13. I also haven't seen the balanced one in the flesh yet, so I don't know what it's like. So there's some paperwork in there as usual. Here will be small and large tips. And let's see what cable you get. Because you have to bear in mind, not much more than this is the Dioco, which has got, I think, yeah, so kind of a normal cable from them. This is the non-mic one. So yeah, I wish I think this should start to be a little bit better for its price, but it is what it is. It is all very usable though, but yeah, I think the Dioco for the same, well, slightly more money, it does a much better job at all this. So yeah, I've been using these probably 3-4 hours so far on them, and burning didn't really make any difference, but they've got about 4 hours on them. And yeah, I'll see you in the next clip. Yes, on to the review section of the KZ PR1 Hifi variant. Whoops, wait for it to blow out. So let's talk about build quality, so straight into it. Very good. I do appreciate what they've done. Obviously this is all, it's just for show. It shows, obviously in the promotion material, it's just for show. Obviously they're number one. I do like it's all metal. Shame you can't really see in. That's just for show as well. So KZ Acoustics, Planar, and yeah, Planar IM. Very good. Show you what they look like down the nozzle. And that's it, obviously lip on there. I do like what they've done. As in construction, I think it's very good. Same I think for the money though, the accessories and stuff like that aren't. This should be better. As like I said, the Dioco for a little bit more money has done a better job. But anyway, so let's get to comfort. Comfort on these is fine. These are they're not that heavy. They're a little bit heavier than you'd probably expect, because that is all metal. But I had no issues at all. Same with when I used with the cable. The cable does the job. You know, you could always get better cables or balanced cables or whatever, but it does work fine with what it is. So power and sensitivity, these are harder to drive than you'd expect them. Same goes for the CCA variant, their first one. You really want to use a decent audio adapter with these. Now obviously I've tried these with my desktop gear, which is, if you don't know, the Topping E30 and L30 combo, the Topping DX3 Pro Plus. Them pair kind of overkill a bit for this, but they're good for, obviously for headphones and stuff like that. I tried this with my favourite adapter at the time being is the J Kelly AP90. That powers this really well. So something like that, you don't need much beyond that, but out of a phone, unless it's like what got one of those quad DACs in it, you know, you want something sufficient. So let's talk about resolution. The resolution on these is very good, as you can probably imagine, being planar. And also in there, the micro details on these is also very good, because it's kind of the trademark planar kind of their speciality. Like that's what they beat DDs at, because they are faster. Yeah, so timbre and like the overall tonality, they've got that planar sound. You'd only know what I mean if you listen to a few. These have got it, which is probably a negative, but that's what they sound like. They've got that kind of sound to them. It's hard to put in words what that means. If you witnessed a few or tried a few, you'll know what I mean, but they do have that sound. Yeah, so isolation. Isolation I thought on these is actually pretty good. Just depends if you're going to be using this on the outdoors, because obviously you're going to need decent gear. I used this all at home, so that's. But again, you can use if you got like a topping NX7, which is probably overkill, but any decent gear. But the isolation's okay. Again, this on the back is for show. But yeah, so Soundstage and imaging, both I found was very good. That's what these I think, because that got the crazy extension, it just helped them sound big. And I think because the planar is fast, the imaging I thought was good. So imaging is between like left and right, and what's like in between. I thought it was very good. So anyway, sound. So I'm going to overlay the graph now so you can see what they look like, and I'll also overlay the PLA13. So as you can see, they're very similar. They're not the same, but they both have negatives, as in these are bass heavy, like they do have a lot of bass. Now it does taper off a bit on this Hifi variant. I don't know what the balanced version sounds like, but these are very bassy. Not as bassy as the PLA13, but I do prefer this a little bit, this model. Yeah, as you can see, not much to say really. It's planar bass, so it's fast. It hits different to like a DD. Now I prefer this bass over the like balanced armature bass. Balanced armature bass I don't think is as good. I think DD bass is still the best, but this is probably right behind it. But yeah, it's quick, as you can imagine. But it only sounds like that if you can pair it properly, so bear that in mind. So yeah, mids I found them a bit scooped. You could say these are V-shaped, which is a bit of a shame. I think it bleeds in a bit too much. You want a shorter bass shelf for it to sound cleaner, but again, the PLA13 is very similar. Obviously, the drivers are very, very close, as in how they've designed them. But yeah, it is V'd, but so you get it is a bit recessed. I think some male vocals sounded thick. Female vocals are more forward, for what I tried for my genres. But yeah, the mids are there. It is there. So treble. Now, as you can see, it's boosted the lower section. So some because it's boosted quite a bit, some things can sound unnatural, is a way of pulling it. I wouldn't say hazy. There may have a slight haze to it because of how boosted it is compared to like the mids, but yeah, it is definitely forward. Now, with the benefit of so much treble is you hear everything, like it's all thrown at you and you hear it all. Obviously, no DDs can get that kind of extension. That's the beauty of planar in this case, is where DDs can like taper off at like 9 to 10. These don't. These get to the moon with extension, which is good and bad. The thing is, I found it fatiguing because there's just so much of it. But I say a positive is this: just everything's very, very clear. Probably it's all too forward, shall we say? But again, EQ can help solve this, and same for the low end, because planar is flexible to using with an EQ, especially a PEQ. But apart from that, like, they are very, very clear. I typically try this with a lot of electronic music, and it works very well for that. Maybe some genres like rap, hip hop, it might do very well. Classical seem to work well in orchestral because a lot of the instruments seem to sit in the treble, so it's all very, very clear. But it's just too. It has the same traits as the PLA13, where there's too much bass and too much treble, and it scoops the middle out, and you can get fatiguing, and it sounds unnatural because it's just so much of it. But it's technically a good earphone, really. The technical performance I found was very, very good for what it is. It's just that there's too much of it. It's probably the best way of saying it. So without going on too much, do I recommend these? I'm not quite sure, really. If you're willing to EQ, then you do have something quite. These are very unique, just like the PLA13. They are quite. So they're very, very unique. And I saw it mentioned somewhere for people who are like over 60 years old and you have some hearing loss. Now these might be excellent for someone like that. I can also, as I'm much younger, I can tolerate the treble, and I can hear up to about 15,000. So I can hear the extension what these can offer. I can hear to about 15,500. Yeah, it just depends if this is for you. Again, you need a lot of power to power them properly. They're not crazy hard to power. It's just the much harder to power. And if that treble's really you, I think it's too much treble and too much bass. It needs a bit more refinement and a bit more pulling back. You know what I mean. It needs to be a lot smoother in the treble and a little bit less low end. But I appreciate what they've done. I do like them apart from that, but they do need a lot of work. But if you're very, very good with EQ, you could probably solve a lot of what this is and then still keep the performance that the driver offers. And yeah, I'll probably end it there because I don't want to keep going on too much. But yeah, they're not a bad set. They need more work. They need more refinement. There's too much bass and treble, and it gets fatiguing. It works fine in some genres, but not on others. Like, there's so many things on there, I can't really say if it'll work or won't work because I haven't tried everything. But yeah, they're not a bad set. They just need a bit more work, really. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you know anything in particular, let me know in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching. And there's another Planar next after these, so you'll see what that is. So keep watching. See you in the next video.